I'm April Meeker with Second Sister Jewelry, and today on Embellish with Second Sister, we are going to learn how to do basic wiring techniques with silver wire. You don't have to use silver wire. I do because I mostly work with silver in my jewelry. You can use copper. There's copper wire available. There's also brass. At the craft store, you'll see just a wall of different types of wire that you can use. And of course, you're going to pay more for silver wire and especially gold wire if you're using it. But you can get silver plate. You have a really good variety of options to use. When you are working with silver, you need to, for basic wiring techniques, the best thing to go with is it's called half hard. You can get dead soft, half hard, and hard. And the half hard is what you want to go for. And if you're just getting started, I would go for a 24 gauge. Wire is measured in how thickness it is. It's called the gauge. So the higher the number, the thinner the gauge. So it's kind of opposite of what you would usually do. For instance, a 22 gauge wire, let's see if I have some of that, is this really thin, almost hair thin wire, and it's super pliable. And then you can go all the way up to, this is, I believe, 20 gauge. In the craft store, if you're not working with real silver, it's going to be a lot easier because your choices in copper, they're probably going to have for sale what you need for your project. But if you're ordering from online or something, I would start with 24 gauge half hard. Now, the other thing that you're going to have if you're going to do any kind of wiring are your tools. And your basic tools are your needle nose pliers. These are the round tip. They have two little round things. And if you can see, these tools have been loved. I've had these tools for years. Invest in good tools because they'll last. If there's lots of, like in the craft store, you'll see different prices, and it's really going to make a difference on how long they last and how good they are and easy they are to work with. Then your other really important tool is called a flat nose plier. It's similar except for it has one flat edge. The inside edge is flat. And your last thing for basic wiring are going to be your clippers. These come in different blades. So you can get some that clamp, pinch straight together so you get a straight pinch. These have more of an angled, they kind of pinch down. It's kind of preference. I kind of go for the handle grip. I like the best. And I do like ones that are angled because they allow you to get right in next to, if you're trying to clip off a teeny little piece of wire, you can get right in and clip it off. So as you can see, these are all my tools that you're going to have. So if you're just getting started in wiring, get your tools and get your silver, and then whatever you're going to wire. If you're not just doing wire like a wire cage, you're going to want to wire beads together. That's what most common. This is the most common thing you're going to do in jewelry to use this wiring technique I'm going to teach you today, is to make connections, to join beads. So I love this. This is coral that's been wired together. Kind of gives it a rosary look, which is really hot right now. That sort of little beaded wired chain. And then I'm going to demonstrate with some of this marcasite. And then I'll show you how super easy it is once you learn this technique to whip up a pair of earrings like that and go out on a date, if you have the beads. So let's get started here. I'm going to grab some of my 24 gauge. I cut off, depending on the size of your bead, these are rather small beads, so I'm probably going to cut off maybe 2 to 3 inches. As a beginner, you might want to cut off more because you're going to need, it's easier to work with longer pieces. So whichever, if you're right-handed or left-handed, grab it grab the wire with, I'm right-handed, so I'm grabbing it with my left hand. And I'm going to go off center, so I make allowance for, I know my bead is going to go right there, so I will know this will be where the top of my bead is. And I grab my needle nose pliers like this. Take the wire and bend it to one side. And this is something, as I've noticed with some of my wiring friends, that it's kind of a personal preference if you bend away or towards you. It depends on if you're right-handed or left-handed. However, so you have your wire at a 90-degree angle. Pinch right on that corner like so. So you're diagonal to the corner. And you're going to take this and wrap it around those needle nose pliers all the way around. And there you have a perfect little loop. So to close this off, because you're always going to, you need a starting point, you're going to grab the loop flat like this. And again, this is a personal preference whether you bend down or over. I always bend down. You're going to wrap this free wire around. I like to go around about 3 times, and as you see, as a beginner, you're going to want more wire to work with, because as you get down to the little nub, it gets a little harder to bend around. Then you get your pliers and you're going to come in close. Again, this is why I like the blades that go like this. You're going to come in close and you're going to pinch that off. Save your wire, save all these little wire scraps. I save them up because you know what? You can send them in to companies and they'll melt them down and they'll give you credit at their store, or sometimes you can get cash. So save all, if you're working in real silver or gold filled, or for heaven's sakes gold, save it. Okay, now it's the time to add the bead. You go ahead and add your bead on there. Now, same thing. Now, here's one thing to keep in mind. I like to have all, this is kind of just a little my OCD coming out. I like to have all my hoops going the same way, like on a piece. So if this is going to be, if this hoop is going to be going, you know, horizontal this way, I want this one to go the same way. So again, grabbing the piece, bending it over, going to the, you have less room to maneuver here, but I find that it's actually the easier side to do because you have a little bead to grasp onto. So grabbing that corner at a diagonal with your needle nose pliers, bend it around all the way till you have a full circle. And then this is when you switch over to your flat nose and bend around. As you can see, it's a lot easier if you have more wire to work with. If you are just getting started in wiring, I would suggest you buy yourself a spool of silver-plated wires, a cheap wire to practice with, because you don't want to be going through your silver. Because when you're learning this, you're gonna have a few flub ups. It's gonna take a little while to get it to look. You have to learn the finesse, just like anything. You have to get the feel of it. So I don't know if you can see this, but as I snipped, it didn't snip right down close. There's a little tail of my silver sticking up. So I'm going to go in with my round needle nose pliers again, and I'm just going to pinch that down in, because you don't want that little pointy piece catching your skin. So it's all tucked down nice into the piece. So there you have your first link. Woo! Okay, let's do the next link. Here is what you need to know. Let me just get if I can find the end here. This is how it usually comes, is coiled up like that, or sometimes you can get it on a spool. Again, you're starting with this. Now, here's where all beginners get so frustrated, because you make your first loop And you have to remember, if you're joining it with something else, you have to remember to leave it open and hook it in. And I promise you, you will close that loop off probably 3 times before you remember to not, everybody does it when they're learning. They go ahead and close it off because you just are so concentrated on making the loop. But I left the loop open and I just slid that little next connection on there, grasping it with my needle nose pliers and making my little coils. Some of my favorite resources to get silver, I really like to shop at artbeats.com. They have a huge selection of beads and wire, and I think they have really good prices. Also, if you're buying a lot of silver and you really get into working with silver and buying all the components, I like Rio Grande. So you're ready to add your next bead, and you can close off this connection. You can also usually find wire at your local bead stores. So there's that. Let me show you how fast I can whip up an earring. I've got this. This is rose quartz. This is an end pin. These are available same places that you would get wire. This is actually a vermeil, which is 24 karat gold over silver. You're going to make your hoop, bend, go on the corner, around, remembering to leave that open so that you have a way to connect your next piece. Again, oops, that happens. The top, your earring findings, the hooks and the lever backs, I like lever backs because they snap shut and you're not, I have babies, so they're always, I'm always wrestling them and hooks just seem to fall out. So I like lever backs. Again, I have a little tail there, so I'm just going to pinch that in. And then here's my lever back. When you open a lever back hook, bend to the side. Do not pull down. Just like with every time you use a jump ring, you bend to the side. You don't pull open. Bend to the side. Okay. Hook it on. And there you have your own little earring. You can you can make them all day long. They're super fun. So I really hope that this gets you started on your way. I mean, it's such a basic tool that you can make any of your, you can just use your creativity to make the jewelry that you want and that you've been thinking that you need. So join us next week. We're going to have more creative jewelry inspiration ideas.